There we go. We're okay, Stephanie. How are you today?
Excellent. I'm wonderful. How are you, Joe?
I'm surviving all right. And in this English, in this British weather, it's never too good, but
Yes.
you know,
Well, I'm in Texas, and so give it 5 minutes and the weather will change. It could be 85 one day and 42 the next. It's crazy. You
oh yeah.
never know. So layers. Well, it's so great to see you again. And I absolutely loved seeing you in New York late
Right.
last year at the Global Net Worth Conference. Loved everything that you had to say on stage with JT Fox. And I have not finished your book, Shoemaker. I don't know if you can see with my background there,
Yes, I can
but
see you.
I'm,
I see it.
yeah. But I'm so excited to finish reading this because everything that you said was just really powerful and meaningful. Um, and so a little bit about me, and my questions are sort of geared towards what I do.
Right.
So I am a consultant, a an executive coach, and a speaker, and I primarily help my clients with transformational leadership development, change management strategies, building resilient teams, and the overall customer experience. So as you can imagine, hearing you speak, I was thrilled that you gave me the opportunity to speak with you because I really wanted to kind of pick your brain on all of your wonderful experience,
Okay.
in founding Reebok and running that business. So, my first question for you, Joe, is can you think of and share a pivotal leadership moment from your journey with Reebok where you had to navigate significant change? And how did you approach it? What lessons did you learn? And how did you lead your team through those changes or transitions?
Well, certainly back in the early days, we had a lot of challenges. We had a lot, and and I think we took those challenges. First of all, you know, we were sort of, oh, we're a small company. Why do we have these problems? And then we recognized the fact that challenges and problems are an opportunity. And it was good then to have this feeling, okay, so Adidas complained that we had a silhouette that violated the three stripes. We had two stripes and a T-bar. And at first we were sort of thinking, and then we realized, just a minute, Adidas recognized the fact that we're here. We were only a small company, but Adidas seemed to feel it necessary to give us a problem. So that made us feel good. You know, Adidas recognized the fact that we're here. So okay, what should we do? Well, we'll change our silhouette, which we did. And instead of the two stripes and a T-bar, we ended up with the Vector, which you see today. You see the silhouette of a Reebok shoe. That's what we did. We changed. The same way in the early days, we couldn't register our name. Our name was Mercury Sports Footwear, and we had to change that. And it's in the book. You've probably got past that bit there, where we actually found Reebok in an American dictionary, and we ended up with a better name. So we ended up with a better name and a better silhouette. And these are the challenges, those early challenges. And then uh, I don't know whether I made a mistake or not, but I had a good friend who was the sales director of a company much larger than us, but they manufactured football boots, and he suggested that they take on the distribution of Reebok in the UK, which meant that all our production would be sold nicely, and we would get a good cash flow. It would improve our cash flow and allow me to look overseas. This was a good idea, but unfortunately, the company that he worked for went out of business, and so
Hmm.
we came to a point where uh, we had to lay off a lot of workers. Probably about 50% of our staff, we had to lay them off. And what lesson did I learn from that? I don't know. Possibly the fact that most of our eggs, about 85% of our production, was Reebok itself, the Reebok brand. We did have some other small manufacturing shoes made for other people. But we couldn't survive off that. So I had to lay people off. And the lesson, maybe you don't put all your eggs in one basket. And that was a big amount. But in the same time, it would give us an opportunity to look in other directions to expand our business into other countries. So, and of course, I don't know if people could recognize the fact that you make a decision and you go with a company that's going to go out of business in 18 months after you've gone there. And there's a story behind that, but those sort of things you don't really look at. But we recovered. And again, although that was it seemed sort of, oh, I must have made a bad decision there. Within 3 months, another company came to us and said, well, we recognize the fact that you've lost your distribution, they've got out of business, can we do it? So it had increased our visibility, and so we got somebody else to take on, and that worked quite well. So I think that we had a lot of friends. I think the one thing that I learned in those very early days was to look for people to help who could help you, and we had a lot of people. Jeff and I went to the college for shoemaking, and whilst we learned a bit, some more ways how to make shoes, what we did do is we made a lot of friends. And so when we did start our factory, if we needed materials, if we needed machinery, we just asked the people at the college, and they helped
That's
us.
great. Well, I love what you said about turning challenges and problems into opportunities, and adopting that growth mindset, right? Because I help leaders with that a lot. And oftentimes people get stuck, they fail and they get stuck and they're afraid to move forward because they get stuck in the actual failure itself or the bad decision. And I love that you said, okay, well, this happened, but how can we turn that around and turn it into something positive, learn from what happened, and hopefully make better decisions going forward. I also think what you said about creating those really strong relationships and friendships is key, right? Because when I think about my 30 plus years in business, I have people that I've known for that entire time that you can call, or that can call me anytime, and give one another advice or connect one another to the right person who can help them through something. So I absolutely love that wisdom.
Yeah, very
So
important.
my next question is about Reebok's reputation. So Reebok obviously has a great reputation for not only product, but also for the overall customer experience, right? How did you prioritize and improve the overall customer experience throughout your tenure as founder?
Well, I think it is a question of creating the right culture. So you have people within your company who all have this same feeling that they're part of a winning culture, and they want to spread that around. So wherever they are, whoever they meet, they like to take them in, and we show them that confidence that yeah, Reebok can do it. If you have a problem, and again, it was we did have problems. You have problems with the product. If you have problems with the product, it's how can we change that? So, and I used to find that if someone would complain about my product, and we wouldn't just sort of say, oh, there's something that maybe you're doing wrong or whatever. We never had that. We just wanted to know how it happened, and whatever. And whatever way we use, we would actually convert that person who was willing to complain into being an agent. He would work for us. We encouraged him. Well, you've gone through this. Why don't you help in this way? So we encourage them to become part of our culture. And because there's nothing worse than if somebody buys your product, they find there's something wrong with it, and they just throw it away. They don't bother.
Yeah.
They just take it as a loss. Yeah, there's so many people would do that. So anybody who would be who would take the time and the opportunity to make contact with us and complain direct, we felt that they would be the type of person who could really help us. So
I like
converting
that.
people from being a complainer to being an agent, to being somebody who really spread your word. And I think this is one of the things where Reebok sort of noted that yeah, you became part of the company. No matter what it was that you said, if it would we found that most people in the industry and people who wore the product were quite genuine. They were not the people who were trying to do something difficult. Um, and I think that's because the running fraternity were quite close. So many people would enter a race, 5K race. There might be 5,000 people entered in one race, and as they're running, they talk to each other, and so you encourage that. So we encouraged people to feel part of the company.
That's excellent. Well, side note, so I loved my white Reebok high tops that I wore all the time in high school, and every girl on my dance team had them. You had to have them. They were the
Right.
best shoe ever. But in terms of, what you said about turning your complaints from customers, turning them into agents of change, that's brilliant, right? Because on average, if someone has a positive customer experience, they'll tell about 4 people. If they have a negative one, they're going to tell 11, right? And
Yes.
most people who have a negative experience, they're telling the rest of the world, but they're not always going to take the time to bring that complaint or grievance directly to the company. And when they do that, even though it can be frustrating sometimes because people have pride of ownership on their product or service, it
Yes.
truly is a gift that they're doing that for us, because now we have the opportunity to not only turn it around with them, but like you said, use that feedback as something powerful to make our company or product or service even better. So brilliant.
Exactly.
My next question is about building resilient teams. And so we talked a little bit about change, right? And dealing with customer complaints. Building a team that's resilient and that can also stick with you through navigating the hurdles and the challenges of change is so important. What strategies did you employ to foster resilience amongst your team, especially during those challenging times or market shifts?
Well, I think it's a bit like a consumer. What you have to do with people who are part of your company, you have to respect them. You have to respect what they have to say, and you can only do so much as we'll say an owner of a business or a shareholder of business. There's only so much that you can bring to that business. Original things you can bring. The rest of the original ideas come from your team. So it's building a team who want to bring something to the business. So it's treating everybody uh, as though they own the business. They almost share a part of it, and the particular part they share is that goodwill, is that energy that people, if people say, "Who do you work for?" Say Reebok. That's brilliant. We wanted to create that feeling that people they were part of Reebok. They weren't just there to fill in the numbers. They were part of Reebok, and that's how we sort of built the team. And then you had team leaders, and we wanted the team leaders to build that amongst their team, because you were either in running or you were part of the basketball team or part of the football team, part of the aerobics team. The aerobics team grew massively, and one of the best things we did, of course, was just to understand that aerobics was women. It wasn't a product. The product was probably quite simple, but the fact that we built that as a part of the culture. This is the culture of aerobics, and the ownership is women, and we had
Brilliant.
very few men in there. In fact, probably the only men who were involved in that were the production team, who were to get the production from South Korea. But yeah, it was treating things as though they were precious. The people were precious, and they felt respected, they felt needed, and they would give everything. So building that, I think, is just so important.
I love that. Brilliant. Well, Joe, we are at time. I could talk to you all day, but I know that you've got a busy schedule, and I just want to thank you again for taking the time today to speak with me and share some of your wisdom. I can't wait to finish the book, and I will reach out to you to share with you the additional nuggets of knowledge that I learned and took away. But thank you again for taking
Please
the
do.
time,
Yeah. It's been
and have a
delightful.
great rest.
Yeah,
Yes, thank
delightful,
you so
Stephanie.
much.
Really has. And have a good day out there. And
You as well. I hope to see you again.
I'm sure we'll be in USA at least 3 times this year, at least.
Excellent.
We know that. That's already booked up. And I guess we'll be there with JT and
Love it.
wherever he is.
Excellent. I look forward to it. Thank you so much, Joe. Have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, Stephanie. Lovely talking.